Hey everyone, welcome to the DeFi Scoop. I'm your host, Dave Liebowitz, and this week we have a very, very special episode. And we're covering NFTs, we're covering DAOs, and we're covering DeFi too with Mr. Jeff the Dunker. Now, Jeff has his hand in all these different projects. I find him really interesting because he always knows what's coming up. He always is on top of trends. I've known him for a few months, and it's funny, the day after I asked him to be on this interview, he actually went viral on TikTok Investors. So this is definitely a good episode. Tons of alpha packed in here. Stick around. It's going to be a fun one. Hey everyone, welcome to the DeFi Scoop. I am here with the legend himself, Green Jeff the Dunker. Yeah, so Jeff, it's really funny because on Sunday, I asked you to be on my podcast because you're just doing so much cool shit. And I'm just like, I need to have Jeff on. And then you were like, word. And then the next day, you're on TikTok Investors. You just like went viral. So can you give me like kind of the lowdown? Like, were you expecting that?
Sure.
What has the reaction been? What was your reaction to it?
I created a pretty good following on TikTok over the past few months. I guess I have this kind of TikTok persona where I'm really douchey, really obnoxious, and make like really jarring, controversial TikTok videos, and so that's what goes viral. That's what sells.
Well, that's what goes viral. So
back before TikTok investors found out about me, I think they've been following me for a long time, but this is the first time they've posted me, and I think it was. I've made a few NFT videos, but that was my first one where I was like, I flipped some NFTs. It's so easy. You guys are all a bunch of dumbasses if you're not doing it.
Yeah, I know, because we only met like 3 months ago. I think we first met in May, and you were back talking about NFTs before then, and you were like really involved with like the NFT community like before then, both in LA and both online. Can you kind of give a timeline of like how the NFT community evolved from, I guess, February when the real like first NFT bull run craze first started till now? Because I kind of view it as there was this like one bull run hype cycle, all the celebrities got in, it was on SNL, and then it kind of died off for a little bit, and now we're seeing this resurgence where it's more, I guess, a crypto native NFT bull run, and it feels a lot like DeFi summer. But can you give like kind of your observation of this whole
I would
6 to 8 month timeline?
I would actually say it started a little bit earlier. I was big on Rarible last summer. Kind of like, I've been into NFTs pretty much since the get-go. I was around for Counterparty, for the rare Pepes, Spells of Genesis, all that good stuff. And I think last summer we started to see the first signs of it, like an oncoming NFT renaissance. I think Hashmax came out maybe close to a year ago. They were a little bit earlier, right? They were January, okay.
No, they were. I think they were in January. They were. I have my hashtags behind me, very, very proudly. But I think they came out in January. But to be honest, like for me personally, like I think NFT hype kind of started with the first like big thing I saw of NFTs was the meme token and how you could farm NFTs and stuff.
Yeah,
it was meme. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I bet on.
Yeah, it was rope.
I didn't really like any of the NFT collections, but I was into the idea that the niche was going to keep growing, and so I bet on an NFT platform. But everything kind of died down. October, November, we kind of had a couple months drawdown, and then January, February, I think some of the NFT collections, some of the more prominent ones, really started to pop off, and I think there was this kind of unique combination of NFTs are something that everyone can understand. It's very low barrier to entry to be an NFT creator. It's very easy for anyone to make their own NFT, even if you have no technical knowledge. It's easy enough to find someone who will help you. And so I think a lot of what we saw January, February were a lot of celebrities, a lot of well-known people saying, oh, here's this good, easy opportunity to do a little something in the NFT space, make a quick buck. And I think you had a lot of people who maybe didn't understand so much that someone making an NFT to make an NFT isn't a big deal necessarily, not unless they want to do something with their NFTs or put something behind it. And so I think a lot of people got burned because, oh, so-and-so celebrity made this NFT, yet they didn't really have any plans to do anything with that NFT, and now no one really cares because every celebrity can make an NFT, and if you don't really love that one particular celebrity, there's not really a reason to get theirs. And then, April, May, crypto as a whole kind of had some. I would say like May through July was a little bit quiet, and everything kind of traced back. And now there's, I think it's coming back around again, and it's coming back in a better way, in a more. I think the NFT stuff that's catching on right now is more intuitive. I think it's more. I think like the crypto insiders or the crypto community are a bigger driver rather than it being outside celebrities and influencers, which is something I really appreciate. And I think overall
same here.
We have the same excitement that we had back in February, but we have better places to engage your excitement in terms of different NFT projects and all that stuff.
Would you say that the institutions around NFTs are more organized, or like kind of the standards around NFTs are more organized? Like, I feel like back in February, March, people didn't know what to do. Like, it was really easy to create an NFT, but to create a community around that NFT or to create good NFT art, like, there was no formula. But now, like, with these mints, there's like a formula now. It's like, oh, there's like a contract. You can mint from, like, you mint from the contract. There's all this randomly generated art. You kind of saw pieces of it, like, with Hashmass a little bit. You got with CryptoPunks like way before, but I feel like now there's like a kind of like a formula, and now like the big trend is a PFP, profile picture NFTs, which has been a thing, but like now it has a name. And so like, would you say like there are these like standards now that when it comes to like creating a NFT and a community around it?
Yeah, I think we're starting to, just with all these different projects launching, some of them succeeding, some of them failing, we're starting to see a little bit about what's the right way to do this. Most of these projects are, referencing the same base code, using the same kind of economics, or if they are doing changes, they're kind of minor tweaks. And I think a lot of projects are essentially iterating on top of one another and determining exactly.
It's literally DeFi summer all over again with art. It is.
Yeah,
it feels like it's
the same excitement I felt around this time last year.
Yeah, I think it's better. I'm having way more fun, like with art, because like I think with DeFi summer, it's just like you had to be like a whale or really technical to like actually take advantage of it. It was like a lot. I'll put it this way: like I feel like a lot of people felt smart taking a part of DeFi summer, but I feel like not a lot of people made money. If anything, lost money because like you feel cool. I know me personally, I felt like, oh shit, I'm doing all this like cool DeFi stuff, but like if you like. It's like kind of, I guess it was like more harder of a game. And like, if you don't get out in time, like, in those like pool twos or whatever, you just get screwed. But like now I feel like everyone who was like crypto native back in DeFi summer, that's in NFT or JPEG summer right now. They like, I know personally, I'm taking my lessons that I learned in DeFi summer and applying it.
Yeah. For me, it was definitely like, I have a programming CS background. I got a CS degree, but I am was not a Solidity programmer until DeFi summer kind of started, and there were so many instances of these, for better or worse, DeFi Ponzi games where if you could go in and read the contract and kind of understand the different components of each game, it was pretty easy to win, just because you had this information that was available to everyone, but no one knows how to. Like a year ago, no one knew how to interact with smart contracts through Etherscan. No one knows. I mean, it's still very difficult, but
that's why I call Debs the high priest of crypto. It's like priests back in the Middle Ages; they were the only ones that knew how to read. Debs, you guys the only ones that know how to read.
Like I've always been pretty technical, and like the economic incentive of if I understand how this token smart contract works, I get free money. And so I had a lot of, I'm going to stay up all night and how this shit works, and then I'm going to tell all my friends. And for a while, it was kind of like in some of my groups, I was like the DeFi summer oracle. NFTs, I think,
no pun intended,
are a lot more fun because it's like Well, do you like the art or do you not like the art? You don't need to. You don't need to have like an engineering background to determine whether or not you like the penguins or not.
Yeah, it's I guess like a lot more accessible to
and I
the
think that'll
common
make
man.
it bigger.
Yeah,
and like, it's easier for people to participate.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And what I really like seeing is, kind of you see like DeFi concepts or like DAO concepts and NFT concepts all kind of merging. Like, I don't know, one project I saw recently was Buzz Bears.
I did see.
I don't know if you saw them, and like they have like curve voting. It's like kind of. So I guess I wouldn't call it tokenomics. Is it NFTnomics or something?
Yeah.
Where you like lock your bears and you have more of a say in the DAO. And I feel like we're gonna see like more of that coming for sure. It's like the meme power of all this stuff is like if a project does something and it does well, then it will be copied over and over again.
Yeah, I'm definitely my whole investment thesis on why NFTs, why this isn't the top or why there's still more to go is that there's, from a technology perspective, there's so much that NFTs as a new type of digital asset, I mean, they're not new, but like people are iterating and building on them for the first time. It unlocks a lot. The idea that you can have a digital asset of whatever you want, and you can assign some privileges or permissions to whoever can verify ownership of that. There's a lot you can do with that. I think the Venetians that we have locally are a good example of that. Where
can you talk about Crypto Venetians? What are they?
Crypto Venetians are another generative avatar project. This one's quirk is that you have to mint them in person at this. There's this gallery location in Venice Beach, and if you own a Crypto Venetian, you get to basically use it as a local VIP pass. You get to go to different events that they put on. They have some exclusive offerings. I think they've talked about partnering with like local restaurants and businesses about doing like special stuff only for Venetian holders. And that's not something you could easily and at scale do before NFTs. Probably the best example before were kind of like those, like, I think there was a trend in the early 2000s of like membership credit cards where like if you had like some exclusive credit card, you could go to like clubs or whatever. This is like that on steroids and done in a much more efficient manner.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and I can imagine in the future like there'll be like punk exclusive only events and stuff. Like I've thrown concerts in the past, and I'm like, if I were to throw a concert again, I can be like, hey, like I will give every punk holder, every Crypto Venetian holder a free ticket, and or like some other special privilege. And there's like you said, there's so much that you can do with
it. I really expect punks are going to be kind of like a universal VIP card because, let's say you're throwing a concert, or let's say the example I like to give is, let's say they just announced Bitcoin 2022 in Miami. And let's say you just open this high-end nightclub. You want all the rich crypto douchebags that are in town to go to your nightclub. Not any of the other ones. You say, hey, if you own a punk and you come to my club, you don't have to wait in line. We'll get you in, no cover charge. And now all the punk holders are going to, go to your club.
They'll go there without even thinking.
It's such a great way to signal to a very select, typically very hard to reach crowd. And it's the same thing with the Venetians. It's the same thing with a lot of these other NFT collections. All the popular ones, really.
Yeah. Are there other NFT projects that you like? I guess my question is, what makes a good NFT project in your eyes?
So for me, it is nothing more than whether or not I like the art. I don't approach it in the same manner as I do for like DeFi or like different cryptocurrencies where I can see like the DeFi tokens I like, for example, they have strong revenue and they share that revenue with the token holders, and they have responsible emissions, and you get governance, ownership stake, and For NFTs, it's legitimately just, do I like how this looks, and would I enjoy owning it? And that's like I am not really investing in NFTs as kind of a way to, I'm going to flip these JPEGs, I'm going to turn a profit. despite what I say on TikTok, because that's what confused.
That's the persona. That's like
and that's kind of
that's not the real Jeff Dunker.
People off.
Yeah.
But I just I get the JPEGs that I like. So I have a whole bunch of art blocks, which that turned out well. But I was minting them months ago because I thought the different collections, some of the different art block collections, and how they were doing generative art was something that I really enjoyed, something that inspired me when I looked at some of these collections. And so that was the kind of stuff that I bought into. It didn't go deeper than I enjoy this or I don't enjoy it.
I just like the art. We like the pictures.
We like the JPEGs. Looks rare.
What looks rare. I love that. What's the story behind art blocks? Like, what's like the whole like origin genesis story of it? Because I'm not familiar with it. I know the guys from Houston or something, and it's basically art blocks is they generate the art based on like hashes on chain. Like what is art blocks exactly?
I am an expert by no means, but as I understand how the process works, is they have kind of like a team of curators.
Mm-hmm.
Or whoever the Art Blocks Foundation is, which is made up of some coders, some engineers, some artists, some in between people, some crypto people. I don't exactly know who makes up the team, other than I know Jeff Davis is one of the big guys, or he's one of the founders, and he's did some of the first art block collections. And how I understand that it works is anyone can apply to have their artwork featured as an art block collection, and then they have kind of this this starter contract that you build on top of, and you create your own script for turning a transaction hash or a contract interaction into a unique version of whatever collection you made, where there's different random variables that correlate to different traits that have different rarities.
Mm-hmm.
And then every person mints their own unique piece, and you don't see it until you mint it or you buy it. And then, they have I think they're doing at this point almost one a day.
Yeah, what you just said, you don't know what it looks like until you mint it, is one of the coolest parts of NFTs. With the whole People Pleaser Fortune magazine auction and everything, it's somebody featured on for those who don't know, if somebody that was featured on the auction cover, Loomdart or Kobe or whoever, if they mint it from their address, then it changes to the cover would be Loomdart or the cover would be something else. And it's kind of that kind of active participation in creating what the final minted product is, I think is really powerful, because it's the audience is part of the creative process. And
there's so much you can do.
There's
I think we're only
we're just at the beginning.
If I had more hours in the day, there would be so much cool NFT stuff I'd be working on.
Yeah, what are some of your ideas? What would you want to do?
So my big idea that I've been thinking about this for almost a year now, so I'm going to say it's public domain.
Mm-hmm.
Parallel is close to what I want, but what I'm really interested in seeing is some type of project platform ecosystem where, instead of approaching it as we are going to make our own first party NFTs and that's going to be the glue to the ecosystem, we're going to use all these different third party collections that people already enjoy. And so what I really want to see is a NFT trading card game platform where the universe of cards are punks, hash masks, art blocks, all these different popular collections. And then me as an NFT holder enjoyer, I come into the platform with my, 20 art blocks and, whatever else. And I can make a deck out of those.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about cardifying these NFT projects?
Yeah, in a more abstract sense, just building out some type of environment where you don't necessarily need to buy into what the developer is selling. You can take what you already have, what you already enjoy, and what you want to do more with. For me, art blocks primarily, and use that in a different way. And then if I were building this out myself, I would situate it where there's either a governance token that votes on which collections to add, that votes on balancing the different cards, so if punks are too strong, nerf them or whatever. and maybe have like a common deck, like a starter deck booster pack that people can buy, but like have like the rare or the exciting elements of the game being those NFTs that already exist elsewhere in the
So
world.
it's basically like a layer, like kind of like a layer below these NFTs, and you can create like art blocks cards or punk cards or hash mask cards, and the attributes could be the properties and stuff, and like depending on like how, you know, you could like weight the power of each property based on, you know, kind of what class they're in, whether they're hash masks. Oh, I think that's really cool, and I think like I have to agree with you on that, because if you create like your own isolated universe, it's like very hard to scale that, especially no one cares.
Really, I mean, and the other thing is like they're way before NFTs. Game studios have made robust virtual economies that have real world value that people have made careers in. You know, Entropia Universe has had virtual properties sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars without NFTs. The reality is that the NFT only makes sense if it goes beyond your ecosystem. So if you're a developer and you want to situate your game in a way that people do have ownership of their items they can trade, you don't necessarily need to make them NFTs. The NFTs are a good way to raise funds and drive hype, but it doesn't necessarily improve your game based on what already exists. Taking in other NFTs that exist elsewhere in the world and making them a part of your universe, that's something that's really exciting. That's something that I don't think many people have explored.
Yeah, I can't think of it like anybody working on that. So if somebody listening,
I would play the card game. I think like probably like a Decentraland or a CryptoVoxels is the best example, but that's still really limited. Like they support some wearables, or like Sandbox will support like you're supposed to be able to use your Meebits in Sandbox as your avatars, for example. And like so that exists a little bit, but there's so much more. And there's also the element where like let's say there's like 1 million MMORPGs, and if you want to make the 1,000,000 first one, you can set yourself apart by saying, hey, all you all you Pudgy Penguin owners, you can have a Pudgy Penguin pet in my game, and now you have however many holders there are, 5,000 people that are going to be interested in your game that otherwise wouldn't. The people that have a lot of time and a lot of money.
Well, you just described like half of crypto, or like you've described like anybody who's like quote unquote made it. Like you just described them, so I can definitely imagine that for.
And that's like the best like customer you can acquire,
and like So
I mean, I think it'll happen. I think we'll see more of it in the future. It just hasn't. It's just not there
for
yet.
Sure. I want to ask you more. I guess like how what's like your background? Like how did you get into crypto? Like I don't know how much you want to reveal, because I consider you like a kind of like a mystery in a way. Like I don't know too much. But like I guess like, you know, how'd you get into crypto initially, and like how'd you get into NFTs? You talked about you were like, sounds like you were pretty early if you were messing around with Counterparty.
Yeah, I can.
The origin of Green Chef.
So Jeff the Baker, the original iteration of my screen name, Jeff the Baker, that predates crypto. When I got my Xbox 360 when I was 12, when I wanted to play Halo 3, I thought it'd be funny if it was like, you got killed by like Bob the Builder or something like that. So I came up with Jeff the Baker, and I've used that ever since. But how I got into crypto was I was 15, playing on a Minecraft server, and someone referred me to this other Minecraft server, which is a Bitcoin casino. And for better or worse, I have kind of been a degenerate gambler my whole life. Grew up in a big poker family. I think I played in my first 4 money game of Texas Hold'em when I was 6 years old, and I was instantly enamored with the idea that I could gamble at the age of 15.
And it's real.
Magical internet money, and no one asked me how old I was. So my start was a Bitcoin Minecraft casino. My first Bitcoin was they had a referral program where you got like $1 Bitcoin if you referred a new Minecraft account to the casino. So that's how I got my first Bitcoin, and then I got onto Bitcoin Talk, where there was this whole new world of poker sites and slot sites. And I did a bunch of freebies like $5 worth of Bitcoin or $5 worth of credits if you help test our site. I did all that kind of stuff. And then fast forward a couple of years, I saw like 18 months. So I was 16. I saw an ad on the Bitcoin Talk forums. Hey, we're hiring writers, and I was like, I've always been a good writer. I was for this shitty like Bitcoin blog. They were massively underpaying everyone.
I mean, you're 16, so.
But I applied. Yeah. I applied with my honors English essays, like my most recent 3 essays,
awesome.
and the guy hired me. And so I was now a freelance writer working for Bitcoin, and my first article did really well. It hit like the top of r/Bitcoin.
What was the article?
And then I had a couple other. It was about QuickBooks supporting Bitcoin in like one of their offshoot accounting softwares.
2015, okay.
Back in like 2015. Yeah.
That was the true dark period. That was the true that was like the coldest bear market, I feel like.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Luckily, I mean, I just had freebies. So all my freebies I had collected, all like my poker free rolls were just not worth as much. But I didn't have any money, and even if I did have money, there was really no way to buy it if you were under 18 back then. There was no Robinhood. There was no really easy way. You had to find some shady person on local Bitcoins and hand over some cash and hope he doesn't rob you. But yeah, I did freelance writing for a few months, bobbed around into different publications, wrote some stuff on Counterparty back then, 2015, 2016, on Spells of Genesis. I mostly just wrote until I had enough Bitcoin to buy my own computer. I was on the family computer, and so in like May 2015, I spent 3 Bitcoin on my PC, which is right here, not plugged in. This is my $100,000 PC.
What do you mean? Oh, because you bought it with Bitcoin, so now it's so now it's worth. Oh wow!
Right. But yeah, so I did that, and then I got into trading altcoins a little bit in like 2016 on YoBit, which was mostly just me having fun and gambling in a different way, and then. 2017 happened, and had a few big wins. I got into Pepe Cash really early and Rare Pepe, and I wrote an article for
Rare Pepes are really cool. That was like the
I still have
because that was like the first wide I think high effort NFT project. Does it predate CryptoPunks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Rare Pepe's were like November 2016.
I mean, it played so well in the Rare Pepe meme.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And that was also when Pepe's were really controversial, like when they got
the ADL and stuff, so it was like cool to have one.
And there was because I feel like, yeah, exactly. It was like a bit of a counterculture type deal. But yeah, then there's 2017, and I really got back into freelance, or I really got into working. Like in December of 2017, I was like,
well, you have a good success. December 2017, bravo.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm making good money trading for a 19-year-old. But this probably won't last forever, so I'm gonna get back into work, and I started writing at the old publication again, and then I got into more like PR and marketing roles. And then I really did not like journalism once I kind of understood how like sleazy the industry was, and I had these people reaching out to me like, "Oh, we'll pay you X thousands of dollars to write about our scam coin," and I never did anything. But it just really turned me off of it, and so I was in college at this point, and I was originally an economics major, and I finished my econ courses pretty early on, and I picked up computer science, and I got more into programming. And then since I've graduated, I work for Block Inc. now, which is like an umbrella crypto blockchain DeFi company. Our flagship is Vesper, where I spend most of our time.
It's similar to Yarn, right?
DeFi yield aggregator. Similar to Yearn, yeah. It's like the differentiation being that Vesper is like docs, industry professionals have regulatory clearance, whereas Yearn, I think, appeals more to the degens. But yeah, we took a lot of inspiration from Yearn, and so I work there now, and I do some other stuff. I have my own project, Governor DAO, which is like essentially trying to be the DAO of DAOs, like a B2B type organization helping other projects be DAOs. And we've got some other stuff going on.
When like I hear about all the stuff you're doing, and when I have people ask me a lot of time, like, hey, like, how can I get into crypto? Like, what do I need to do? Like, I feel like you're like the ideal example of like somebody doing stuff in crypto. You're just like, you have your hand in like a bunch of different things. Like, you have your hand in these NFTs and stuff. You're in the pulse of that. You're doing some DeFi stuff with Block and Vesper. You're doing some DAO stuff. Like, you literally have like the holy trinity of blockchain going for you. And like, I really admire and respect that. And kind of like, I hope to get there one day.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think for me it was, for whatever reason, I've always really been enamored since I was young with the idea of like playing video games and doing stuff online and making money. And so like I was really into Minecraft because like some servers had really robust economies. And so when I found out about crypto and it was like, okay, there's actually this whole world built out around that idea, I just had a lot of time, had a lot of energy, and
you have the fire under your ass to like, basically to get where you are today.
Fire,
do you feel like I feel like a lot of people feel that playing video games, whether it's just like massive role playing online games and whatnot, like basically prepared them for crypto, because like I feel like in a way like life is becoming more and more of a video game, especially as like so much more stuff gets moved like in like the metaverse or like on chain or like whatever you call it. Like how do you feel about like kind of like we were like preparing for it when we were younger, playing these video games, and now like it's playing out, it's having real world consequences for sure.
Yeah. Before I was really into Minecraft, I was really into Roblox. In Roblox taught me about arbitrage trading, where there was two currencies in Roblox. Now there's just one, but back then they had like a premium currency and a free currency, and you could trade between the two. And it fluctuated over a pretty regular interval. And so by the age of like 12, I was arbitraging the different Roblox currencies, buying one for the other when it went out of whack. And when I played Minecraft, I learned about like supply demand stuff, about like, trends in commodities in these like different servers. And that I think I definitely used those lessons learned as kind of a stepping stool for learning how to trade altcoins and that kind of stuff. But the reason why I was really into rare pepes was because I found out it was pretty easy to arbitrage between the rare pepe market, the counterparty decentralized exchange, Bittrex, and this other exchange, Tux. And so I would kind of find disparities between the two, or between like two or three, and kind of do like different arbitrage trades. That's what I did for
stuff like that.
My summer 2017.
Yeah.
And now there's like you can't do it anymore because there's like bots and stuff. But like I learned those concepts from video.
Cool. So like I've been like kind of developing this thesis over like the past few weeks. I want to hear what you think of it. Like there's this whole idea of like, oh, like wait till the institutions come. But like the more I think about it, the more I disagree with it. The more I think like with like the metaverse, with like, with Axie or with Illuvium or with, whatever comes out, or like even Decentraland or whatever comes out, like we can like literally build our institutions from the ground up in the metaverse and kind of like gain kind of like, I guess, value from within instead of having to like look out and having to compromise. Like, would you agree with that thesis, or do you think like maybe we should like invite the institutions and TradFi in a little bit? Because I guess like the way Vesper is, it's like you're like kind of, I guess, more TradFi, like you're trying to track those guys as well. And I'm not saying TradFi is bad, but I'm just like kind of saying like that's my observation, to keep like crypto as like, or DeFi or this whole metaverse thing as like pure and to its core of its values as possible.
I strongly
Okay.
believe that TradFi is going to have to adapt to that. And I would say
Mm-hmm.
Vesper still falls into that category of building it up yourself first. We're a permissionless DeFi yield aggregator that anyone can use. If an institution wants to get into DeFi yield farming and they don't know the first place to start, they can use that.
Okay.
But they're using the same Vesper that you or I can use. And so, like, we might be the first. I don't know if anyone else has done it, but we have an institutional fund called Blockforce Capital that recently launched a DeFi growth fund, where basically their investors deposit however many US dollars. All of that money is converted to different crypto assets, and all of it routes through Vesper. And so I think we'll see a lot more of that, where the TradFi offerings under the hood are DeFi. And I think we're at an advantage because people like you and me and all of us crypto degens that like really grew into this space and like this is all we know.
Exactly.
We know all this stuff in and out, whereas these guys are having to relearn everything.
Really, like what kind of like the centralized, parts or like the compliance parts are like all like kind of like the waste that usually like the yields go to in traditional finance. That's just getting sent back to the user.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's why the yields are so high. And I think that's really powerful because, kind of like once people realize, like, wait, like, what are some like good things we can like create DAOs for, and then we can earn yield on, and then like everybody in our DAO can kind of benefit from. Like, one thing I've been thinking about is like, imagine if there's like healthcare DAO, and everybody that like pays like a it's kind of like insurance, but like instead of like you have all these middlemen extracting value, you get the value directly, and the money you like kind of like you pay your dues, but that dues and like those dues are in like a year, and then like you don't, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're this is an alpha leak for anyone who's listening 40 minutes into the podcast. Governor
Thank God.
is actively talking with a major insurance company about doing exactly this. And yeah, and it's still, I mean, nothing's been confirmed. It's like meet and greet. We're teaching them how all this blockchain DeFi stuff works, but I think that's where everything in finance goes, because if you think about it, all that different industries, niches, businesses, and finance boils down to is one side post capital, or one party post capital, one party uses that capital, and then the firm is the middleman that plays magic. And all DeFi is replacing the firm with a smart contract. So whoever provides the capital, whoever uses the capital, they work directly with one another, and they get to keep the profits. If you're borrowing, you get better rates. If you're lending, you get more profit. Banking's probably the best example. If you deposit your money into a savings checking account, you don't see any of that money. It doesn't sit there. The bank lends it out. They have whatever 10% reserve ratio, which means they can loan every dollar you deposit out 10 times, essentially, because, if I'm the bank and you take out a loan from me, you deposit the loan into your bank, and then your bank lends that money out again, minus the 10%. But, so, like, you can see how a bank is earning, whatever, 10, 20% on your money. You don't see any of that. All DeFi is you keep the yield instead of forfeiting it to the institutions. And so if you approach DeFi from that angle, it's not possible for a TradFi provider to compete. If DeFi,
and I think the cat's already out of the bag.
DeFi can do it better.
Like I know, like with these like infrastructure bill that's happening and like that's being discussed. It's. I mean, I actually like used to work in Congress, so like I like kind of like get like how I've seen how it like works and stuff. And like it's kind of absurd, like they for such like a big like policy decision, they just like put it in like simply in an amendment, and then like we really saw like kind of how DC works at play, like whether it was like with the Portman amendment, like the guy like I don't think he meant wrong, but he's like trying to come out with his own compromise, and it was just like at first it excluded like proof of stake and all this, and then like the guy from Alabama, Shelby, like. He just like struck down the amendment because he was just salty and stuff. Like this is how DC works. Like, and this is how I feel like, yeah, it's like, I mean, like, if we don't, like, I'm like, I really, I write for the DeFi, and I really want to write an article about, like, how we should, like, just, like, update our, like, laws and stuff and whatnot. And, like, beyond, like, just, like, us being on the defense, right now we're on, like, crypto as an industry is on the defense with this infrastructure bill. We should really be on the offense with the Token Taxonomy Act. Token Taxonomy Act. I don't know if you've heard of it. I was reading about it last night, but it basically defines a utility token, what a utility token is, and like explicitly says that this is not a security. And on top of that, they should really adopt Wyoming's 13 blockchain like regulations and laws that, gives like one example is it gives like a 3-year sandbox for decentralized projects to develop because, it takes time for these things to get genuinely decentralized, gives like proper protections and definitions. Like the US is really behind, and I feel like, a lot of like the regulatory institutions, like whether it's the SEC, they're like giving these vague definitions, and then like different regulatory agencies are fine, like, no, it's a security, no, it's a commodity. Like, in Congress, it's just like now, like, I think we're going to like see some more action, especially with how big crypto has like come at this infrastructure bill on the defense. But like, I would predict in like 2022 we'll be on the offense in a lot of ways, whether it's, proposing bills like this and supporting getting DAOs that earn yield and that support pro crypto friendly candidates and whatnot. Like, what do you think of all that?
I am, so I'll preface by saying I really don't know anything about the legislation, about the politics, about all that stuff. So assuming that there are no rules in place that prevent this type of stuff from happening, I really anticipate to see like tax DAOs where maybe like you deposit stable coins to get like campaign NFTs or like governance tokens in the DAO, and then those stable coins earn yield, and then you vote on which campaigns you fund with that yield. And have like, I mean, I understand there's like donation restrictions, all that stuff. I don't know how that can play into a DAO, but I think we'll see a lot of that. Like, what I do understand about Congress and politicians lobbying is it really all comes down to who is contributing money to what. And if there's one thing we have in crypto, it's a lot of money and a lot of people who are passionate about spending their money. And so, I think, if we go on the offensive in 2022, when the midterms come around, I do expect that we'll see a lot of people who are willing to put up a lot of coin to make sure certain people get put into office or certain people stay out of office. Or
and I think now is like the time crypto is ready to like actually take that kind of action. I don't think in 2017 crypto was ready per se. It was still like, it was just like the biggest thing where ICOs and like it was cool at Ethereum you could like raise money like $30 million in 30 seconds. But now there's like an established on-chain economies in both DeFi and both like gaming and stuff. Like you have like a lot of like crypto native people that are seeing kind of the warnings in the distance, and like you said, like, and like I said too, like we said, like it's time to go on the offensive basically in 2022 as crypto Americans. So
I know one of the big aspects of crypto that really drove me to stay interested or become more passionate about it was so many years ago, and it hasn't at such a bigger scale now, but even so many years ago, 2013, 2014, 2015, you have me as a, growing up in a comfortable household in the United States, but as a 16-year-old who doesn't really have a way to earn any money for himself, I was able to go on the Bitcoin Talk forums and do micro work and, for 5 or 10 hours a week, make $20 an hour. And at the same time, you had people in like Venezuela and Indonesia and Argentina that were doing exactly the same stuff I was. And instead of it being it was cool to be a 16-year-old and have a bit of extra, pocket change. But for these people, they were able to make their weekly or monthly wages in a day doing micro work online. And that has exploded by an order of magnitudes, I think, with with how the industry is now. And I think
that's 100%.
really something.
Whatever you want to call it, like that are like more keen to adopting crypto because they have to. Like, you think this will definitely put them at an advantage, and like you see them like maybe like really fall down the line, like leapfrogging the old world per se.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's a few there's like a few like steps of progression in what blockchain enables in like a let's call it like a global digitized economy. Number one is as far back as so many years ago, it was very easy to engage with people online, do digital work, and get paid for doing that work, with very little burden required. You don't have to give anyone any information. You don't need to have a bank. All you need to do is have an internet connection and be able to, communicate with whoever's paying you. And so right off the bat, that's a good way for people to do, like, I know there was a lot of like writers, and there's a lot of like translation work and a lot of programming and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, now that the space is maturing and we have better infrastructure in place, better blockchain infrastructure, now you have these DAOs before DAOs, we have smart contracts where you can basically codify agreements, and you can enforce, work on the blockchain, and that makes it safer for people to do whatever blockchain based work. That could be doing like keeper jobs.
Speaking of keeper jobs, shout out Gelato. Shout out Gelato for hosting this podcast.
These communities are tokenized payments, and then take that one step forward. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, that's what we're building. Like anybody, like in the future, like anybody can be a Gelato bot operator and
do stuff for
join
Gelato
this
and get paid
whole like decentralized bot network, and just make DeFi easier, make it the metaverse easier through automation. But shameless plug. We continue.
Exactly. It's a great example, and that's kind of step 2. And I would say step 3 is the idea of the decentralized autonomous organization, where instead of having I'm going to put this in more like economic terms, instead of having a corporation where you have one entity that provides the capital, that provides the resources, that provides, the equipment and whatever, and then you have one entity that does the work on all that, and then the person who provides the capital gets the output, the person who provides the work gets a wage. You have a DAO where you just have the participant, where anyone can opt into whatever DAO they're interested in. They can do work for the DAO. They're incentivized to do that work, and their exposure to the DAO, whether it's a tokenized holding or a wage in the DAO, is something that is value increasing for the work they do. If you do good work in your DAO goes up in value. Your exposure goes up, and I think that is a huge unlocker. That is, I think my biggest long-term bull theory case, whatever, and I've written a couple articles on this, is that I think the future
sounds a lot more democratic.
The way that the world's global economy works in the future is going to shift from a capitalist standard to a Taoist standard, where it's a lot more democratic, a lot more equitable. And the reason why I think it's possible is because, in theory, a DAO should operate a lot more efficiently than a traditional corporation. Because you've automated the most inefficient, the most inexpensive, the most error-prone component of production, which is the executive manager.
That's pretty mind-blowing. The DAOs that can scale the fastest can like really take advantage of this. Like, we're just at the beginning of DAOs and stuff, and can you like kind of give me your like thoughts on what do you think of the DAO landscape right now? Like, personally, I'm in a few DAOs. I'm part of Friends with Benefits, and like even like my time in Friends with Benefits has been great. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm more of like a lurker in the channels and stuff, but like for like doing stuff in real life. Especially like trying to find events in LA, or like if I go to like travel somewhere or go to a crypto conference, like Friends with Benefits, just like, they're always like having something like a cool event with like cool people, and like there's a huge advantage with these like social tokens and social DAOs and whatnot. And like, so what's your thoughts on like the current DAO landscape? Like, are there any DAOs that you like specifically?
I think overall the DAO landscape is still pretty rudimentary. We're still trying to figure out the right way to do this.
Let me definitely hear more about Governor DAO.
The whole idea of Governor DAO is we're figuring out the right way to do the better way to do this stuff and helping other people do it. There's my shameless plug. I think we are getting to a point where there are a lot of good working DAOs or projects that have DAO elements, and I think the more success stories we have, the easier it'll be to have more in the future. I think Sushi Swap is a phenomenal example where you have, Sushi has administrative roles and has a hierarchy and all that stuff, but it really is a grassroots movement where whoever wanted to be involved with Sushi
came out of the ashes, really. And
now it is a legitimate contender. It is a multi-billion-dollar entity that really came out of nothing and it came out of the ashes, and it's kind of the flag wavers are just people who really like sushi and people who hold sushi and people who want to do work to make sushi better.
A sinking boat, like that thing could have easily failed. Sushi could have just like easily just been like a disaster story and stuff. And there's like a universe where like sushi is like a warning to like forks and stuff and whatnot. But like no, like Zero X Maki like literally like led sushi out of like the darkest of times and like just, made it actually fulfilled the original vision of sushi, which was like a community-centric AMM, which was like a different type of like AMM with different incentives for users and stuff. And now, like, the way they're going horizontal. And I had Joseph DeLong on my last podcast and stuff. And like, I know like a bunch of the sushi devs. Like, it's really cool how like grassroots and organic, not just like the community is, but like how like the devs like join the team. And what's really cool about these devs is like a lot of them just learned Solidity within the past year and in the past 2 years. And, and like now like they're like part of one of the most probably biggest projects in DeFi and in crypto. Governor DAO is like, do you facilitate like DAO to DAO interactions and DAO to DAO deals, or like how does that Governor DAO work?
Sure. So Governor DAO is essentially the manifestation of kind of this thesis that I talked about earlier, that the DAO is the superior business model when you do it right. Mm-hmm. The idea behind Governor DAO,
it's like training wheels in a way.
It's very hard to do it right. No one really knows where to start, and there should be some authority that can help people do it. And that's kind of the idea behind Governor DAO. And so, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like like a sandbox, perhaps. I guess kind of what we do is we have, first of all, we have like some smart contracts, some blockchain tech that we put together that does different stuff. We have a way to verify addresses as unique, which there's no like personal information involved. Basically, what we do is we have this proprietary API where you hash your own like face and voice recognitions locally in your own device, and then you send that output hash to us, and we can see if that hash is unique from all the other ones. And if it is, you get kind of like a tokenized moniker on your address. And then you can use that for, if you want to have a DAO where everyone gets one vote and you want to make sure that no one is voting on multiple addresses, you can use that. Some of it is just like, some of it's more like traditional, like consulting type work, us walking you through how you use different stuff.
Stuff so new, people don't know what to do.
Gnosis multi-sig and attach governance voting to it to, operate a treasury and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we can make sure you have decentralized working governance at launch.
Governance as a service, basically.
Yeah, it would be, the idea is that we get a percentage of the tokens filed.
I swear, I haven't been to their website.
What that would look like. And then the idea is that we have our governance as a service. Yep, that's what it is right at the top of our homepage. Yeah. Governance as a service. That's what it is.
Open arms. I'm really happy that you came on. I definitely want to do a podcast again in the future. Like maybe like it'd be cool like revisit like all this stuff in 6 months, see how like everything like plays out and stuff. But dude, Jeff the Dunker, Green Jeff, thank you for coming on. It's been fun.
Sure. DeFi Dave. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.